Hi. You know something? I've been thinking a lot about, I don't even know why I always start with that, you know something. But I've been thinking a lot about relationships in my life and just the relationships I have with my family, with friends, with my spouse, just relationships in general, and specifically relationships that I'm not really happy with, or I won't say not happy with, but there are things that I would like to change. There are relationships I'd like to improve. And I realized that for me, when there's something that I want to improve, I think on it, I mull over it, and it's like, why is this person like this? Why do they say that, do that? And I wind up reacting to how they are. Hey, Harry. I wind up reacting to how they are, but I'm not showing up the way I should be to be the person, for them to be the person I want them to be, if that makes sense. So if I want them to be, oh, Japan, nice. Hey, Missy. Gosh, I miss those inspection traveling days. But yeah, so for my relationships, if I want, let's say I want my husband to, for example, I'm not saying this is him at all, but let's say I want him to do things differently, or I want him to show me love more in a way that I understand it and appreciate it. Again, sweetie, I'm not saying that you don't show it the way I want, but this is just an example. If I want that from him, I might think about it and notice how he doesn't do this, he doesn't do that. I wish he'd do this and that. And then when he does do some things, I wind up reacting, maybe with passive aggression, or I react in some way that fuels him to continue acting how he is and not how I want him to be. And I have to step back for a second and really think about, okay, if I want someone to behave this way, like, whatever that way is, or let's say I want them to behave in this loving manner towards me, how am I being towards them? Am I showing them the love that I want to receive from them? Am I showing up for them as if I were already the person who was receiving that from them, as if they were already doing what I want for them? The thing is, I don't. You wind up, and I wind up showing up in a way that's continues us in this spiral or in this cycle that we're in. And so that's part of needing to step aside and not necessarily focus on how they're behaving or what they're doing, but start with me and start with the change I want to see in me, and start just showing up as the person that I want to be, as the person that I'm becoming. So if I want my spouse, for example, to be this loving spouse, and I want us to have a certain type of relationship, I'm going to start showing up as the woman who has that relationship. I'm going to start interacting with him as if we have that relationship. And then, just by just natural law, things are going to evolve and change. When you do that, someone will either start morphing as well to become the person that you already see them as, or maybe the relationship isn't meant to be, and then they'll just be somebody that's not in your life or meant to be in your life. But bottom line is, if I want a different type of relationships, even let's say with, hi Victor, even if I want something different with like a family member, like my sister, for example, again, not saying this about any of my sisters, but if I want that, I need to start behaving like the sister who already has that person like that in my life, or like the daughter who already has my mother behaving the way I want her to, or the sister behaving the way I want my brother to, or whatever the case may be, the friend who's behaving like I want my friend. I have to start behaving as if the person's already doing it. And if I'm showing up that way, then I'm going to feel good, because again, my feelings are coming from me, not them. So I have to start generating those feelings for myself and have the thoughts that allow me to have those feelings for myself, and then just start showing up in all of my relationships the way I want to be, the way I want to show up, as if I'm already expecting the person to behave how I want. But stop just reacting to them, because that's what I'm doing. When I show up, I'm reacting to how I perceive they are. And then that just continues us in a spiral, and that's not what I want. So that's what I was thinking about today, just mulling over, reflecting about some of my relationships. And if I want them to be different, it's time to stop thinking about them being different and actually start taking some steps or doing something differently than I have already to make them different. And that's something that I can very easily do. Not that change is easy. Change is often uncomfortable, but it's necessary. It is a necessary part of life for you to evolve, because there's no need to stay stuck. Change is just a necessary part of life. Just trust me on that. But yeah, I just want to start, and I need to start when I start reflecting about relationships. If I want something different, then I need to start behaving differently. And if I'm going to behave differently, then I need to feel differently. I need to generate a different feeling, and that comes from me, not them. I need to generate that feeling from me, and not based on how I perceive their acting. And then if I'm going to do that, I need to have different thoughts, and my thoughts have to not be centered around reactive mode and interpreting, having the worst possible interpretation of what they say or do. My thoughts need to be focused on what I want, the type of relationship I want, the goal of where I'm trying to get in this relationship. And I need to have thoughts that give me the feeling that I want to have, so I can act the way I want to act. And by act the way I want, I mean show up in that relationship the way I want to, based on me, Laquita, and how I want to be, and not based on how I perceive somebody else acting. So I just wanted to share that with you guys as I work on that myself. All right, you have a good one. I'm going to go enjoy this beautiful weather. It's my husband's birthday today, and I still have a craft that I'm putting together to finish for him. All right, you guys have a great one. Bye.